Welcome, Billy Ferguson, to the latest episode of FintechOS Evolv podcast. I'd like to have you here. There's been a lot of news of late around cybercrime and cyber fraud, so it'd be really good to get your fresh intake on what happened and what went wrong, and more importantly, what the impact would be for the banking world. But CTO for ThinCats now for 3.5 years. Tell us about ThinCats.
Yeah, sure. So we're an alternate finance provider, so we lend money to UK businesses. Business has been going for a while before I joined, but essentially we kind of bring in money, help mid-sized businesses grow. We do a lot in mergers and acquisitions, and my role's been there to, I guess, land a platform that can scale, get us to the kind of position that we want to be, and to create the kind of digital efficiencies that you really want from tech.
Yeah.
And be secure. The sort of topic we're talking about today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I read been about £2 billion worth of lent money over since the inception of ThinCats, and I think £1 billion worth of assets under management. So that's an amazing achievement for business that only come about just over 10 years ago, really, in its first form. But I know it's iterated since then.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, we're just hovering around the 1 billion mark now. Just it's always that kind of benchmark you want to kind of break through. But yeah, sort of $1 billion asset under management is a kind of that next big target, I guess, to kind of break through. But we've been profitable last few years, which again is
always helps.
Not always the metric that people sort of talk about, but we make it's a business that makes money. It doesn't just evolve and exist. It kind of actually makes money, which is kind of what we're all here for, really. And
you've got that sweet spot of customers in that kind of SME segment or mid-sized kind of commercial segment that you could say has been kind of underserved over a fair period of time. So you obviously built up quite a brand loyalty and a customer base that's doing well for you.
Yeah, and it's funny, we kind of go to a lot of these awards and you're kind of up against you.
Have you won any?
In the lending space we have.
That's
I'd
good.
love to say we've won in the tech space, but we're still trying. But in the lending space we're sort of winning awards against the big four. And
did you lose out nationwide lately? Is that nationwide you lost out to?
At the last tech awards, I kind of...
They're a building society.
But we're 100 people, and when I'm writing the pitch and I'm like, there's 12 people in tech, I'm kind of trying to position it in when you're measuring us against them. But no, so we're in a market where we can serve local regions. We've got a distributed sales team, and we can work with the businesses a lot more closely than some of those kind of more, I guess, digitally decision-based kind of big banking systems.
Yeah, and you mentioned digital platforms and digital efficiencies, and I mean, I joke on this podcast a lot, and we joked before the cameras went live that you're one of the few CTOs that survived a digital transformation. So congratulations, you've obviously seen it through.
And we're still going.
It's not what I thought around here, but and we jest and joke, but they're hard work, aren't they? More of them fail than they succeed. So actually, when you get a success story in our world in digital transformation, especially in the lending space, it's something to shout from the hills about. And so you've been pretty central to that, bringing those platforms together and ecosystem together, and building out partners and knitting it all together. And I think there was a new core from memory. I mean, that's open heart surgery at best anyway. So
migration, decommission of bespoke kind of hand-built systems and stuff like that. No, it's been a busy 3.5 years, but like I said, kind of stuck it out, for want of a better word. But it's been transformational, as the name suggests, but really enjoyable. There's loads of learnings, loads of good stuff. Highs, lows, difficulties. But being honest, we kind of being a small business, it actually makes so many things a lot simpler. I can literally connect up the dots across the organisation without having to jump through hoops and this, that, and the other, which makes it happen. You can get stuff done. You find a problem, you can fix it. You've got support. You've got the kind of organisation behind you. So, I've been around the block a little bit, as the kind of lack of hair would suggest. So, I've been at places where we've tried and it hasn't always worked. But it's good to be the other side of something now, and it really works. It hangs together end to end. It's a digital platform. All the loans are processed through one system. We've got no legacy, all in the cloud. It's kind of, it's a good place to be.
All the old book migrated over, is it?
100%, yeah.
Have you closed down the old systems and cores?
Closed it down, decommissioned all the hardware. Nothing's left running on it. It's all completely gone. Yeah, so, which, being the other side of it now makes my life a hell of a lot easier, because
of course.
don't have to deal with all those other things that, distract you, take your time away. We're going to talk about security. Just, it's just more headaches to have to deal with when you've got all those extra bits hanging around the edges that is points of weakness. It's just all gone.
And I guess with all that work that's been put in, you're now starting to see the benefits come out. I know we were talking about, obviously it cost a fair chunk of money to do these transformations, and now you're starting to see, the other side of the hockey stick now, and the benefits coming through and the efficiency coming through, that's impacting your colleagues in the front line and second line roles, and ultimately your customers as well.
100%. Yeah, we could run at a pretty flat rate now, cost wise, and it's a cost profile which I think is as good as any if you look at proportionate to revenue. But the other side of it is it gives us opportunity to invest. We can invest in shifting it forward, transformation into innovation, and AI, and capitalizing on everything that's kind of coming through thick and fast, because we've sunk a lot of the effort, the hard miles into that transformation. The focus now can be on, well, let's just keep going. We can really push it. Well, or a business prerogative, they could decide we're going to run at a really low cost, it's scalable, it's efficient, it works. There's that opportunity there as well. That's
what I suppose, that's the options it give you. If you could look back in those 3 years and advice to viewers, listeners, and watchers of the podcast that have either started or in the mid-terms of a transformation, being that you are one of the very few success stories, so I'll pitch it there. What was the I guess the blind spots you may have had, and some of the, I guess if you could do it again, here's some of the things that I should have done better, or this is what we did really well and that's why it became such a success?
It's not, I'll be honest, it's not nothing that anybody listening probably hasn't heard. Break it down into manageable chunks.
Absolutely,
make it as simple and relatable as physically possible. Don't leave any corners unchecked. I've got a bit of an expression I use with my team, which is it finished?
Okay.
That's kind of been always a mantra. We move on to the next piece of work once it's completely dealt with.
It's not gone into phase 2.
No.
Everything's phase 1.
Nothing's rolled out. Let's absolutely make sure we get finished. And I get hammered on it by some of the exco of, well, it's not really there, is it? And well, it is. If there's something that's not there, then let's flush it out and let's get it done. And I guess that process of iterative development, but finishing iterations, has meant there's never bits sort of coming to catch me or bite me later that I've missed, and then it's building up, because you get that so quickly. You leave a little bit and then you leave a little bit, and all those little bits all mount up, and then before you know it, you're spending more time focusing on all that than you are really trying to get to.
And it's the interdependency of the little bits that you put into the back burner or the backlog, and actually you don't realise until you get to the next stage, actually we needed that piece of the jigsaw to make the picture.
Absolutely. And I guess it's a little bit just in my nature. I'm a little bit of kind of completer finisher is in my DNA. I can't help it. I hate I'm decorating the house. I hate moving on to another job before. I like to finish a job and then do another job, which you can't help, you just bring it to work, don't you? And that's kind of the way I am with the projects. So, I've had a really solid, steady strategy. I knew what I wanted to do. I outlined that when we came in, and we've stuck to it, and we haven't kind of bent and moved around. And I guess the other side of it is I've always had the support from exec and board to do that.
Have they been consistent throughout that really helps.
I haven't always experienced that. I often get a grenade thrown in from the side. Well, let's go and look at this, or I know we were doing that, but I want to do this. They've supported a direction that we've got done, and we've stuck to. Rightly or wrongly, there are bits in the mix there that now maybe I might use something else. But hindsight's a great thing,
and of course.
The decisions that we've made, I still think stack up now and are plenty good enough. I'd much rather do that than be continually chasing that utopian excellent piece of tech that might be a little bit better. I'd rather just get it done and deliver against what we've got. I
think you're quite fortunate to have such a stable exco on board that have been there throughout the whole transformation, and you've all stuck with it, because more often than not, somebody moves on, somebody comes in with a brand new idea, don't quite understand why that vendor was picked or what the strategy is, and so they throw a grenade in and it disrupts the entire program. and it happens so often that, and the way technology is moving as well is that it's so fast paced. You know, a 3-year program, actually what you've built after 3 years is 3 years old already.
Yep.
So it's keeping up with the times, and I guess having that agility in the program to adopt any new platform or new piece of kit or technology. AI obviously is going to come up multiple amounts of time because that's the next best thing. But the key thing for you is having the foundation to be able to enable it, because an old kit, an old technology just wouldn't possibly be able to play that game.
Yeah, so I'd love to say it was all my brilliance, but actually some of it's, some of it's, some of it is that, been fortunate to have had that, because that can be a absolute destroyer of all your kind of plans. Is stuff taken out of your control, moves it around, and then you're forever pivoting, changing tack, and that doesn't allow you to move forward. So that's been a part of the story.
So talking about things that completely throw you off track, right? Back to, I guess, one of the things I wanted to scratch your brain on is around cybercrime. So that we've had really high profile hits in the retail space, M&S, Co-op, and Harrods. In fact, I think it was only today that M&S turned back on their online shopping. Yeah. So massive disruption, massive cost, massive reputational damage through effectively a cyber attack. And I guess it'd be interesting to know your views on kind of what happened and what went wrong in the retail world, but bringing it more to the perspective of banking, because we're a well hit industry in this regard, and massive amount of money we spend protecting ourselves and new tools we use to protect ourselves, but the exact same tools a lot of the bad actors have. So I guess what was your take on what happened earlier this year, and how did you feel about it?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, sort of bringing it home from my side, sort of 2.5-3 years ago now, we had an unsuccessful attack, but it was a pretty concerted one. And I think you and I connected quite a bit over time about it. It prompted me to set up UK Finance cybersecurity of community, because I thought I can't be the only one battling away at this, and we need a forum where we can chat and try and share ideas, because we're all in a degree competing, but at the same time this is benefiting nobody, the kind of outcomes. Yeah. I mean, the M&S is the kind of, I guess, the most financially impacting one we've seen, because they got in, they shut things down, they kind of have completely disrupted their kind of e-commerce world. The lessons learned from it, from my side, don't let the external world get access to you. Your
social engineering, assets. Right? Is it basically
It was, but it's it goes beyond that in terms of what they can get onto. So it was, it starts out with, they mimic your help desk and they get access to some passwords and they get into your accounts. Yeah. But to be able to step through from that, to be able to then get to like your IT admin type resources, to be able to get onto your Active Directory accounts and be able to kind of breach into your kind of directory, there's a lot of pieces in the chain there that have gone wrong to make that work. There should be, some clear boundaries between that sort of activity. And we talk about kind of things that we've done, but if you look at what they have experienced now, I am sure the security budget at M&S has gone up pretty massively as a result.
Shouldn't laugh,
as these things do. The Co-op one was not quite as significant. They didn't manage to disrupt their trade, but they got in and they managed to get all their data. They kind of ripped the data out, and they could have ransomwared it if they kind of got in, but they didn't get that far. But they did still manage to get the data out. So again, there's kind of a lot of gaps. They mentioned the Harrods one is also kind of linked together in those stories. They didn't get anywhere, but
they managed to get in.
They managed to get in before they actually did anything. And using all the same kind of techniques. The bits for it that scares me is, one of the things that I benefit from is, we're a UK based company. All our employees are in the UK. All our customers are in the UK. So one of the controls that I've got in place is any kind of usage of our systems from outside the UK is locked. You cannot get on us from outside the UK unless there's some exceptional board member for a period where we've agreed an access or somebody in the business. But that makes my life simpler. The scary thing about you scared spiders and that sort of thing is that looks like it's coming from the UK.
This sounds like when the people who've been arrested are UK folk.
I know, and younger than some of my kids. It's a bit frightening, but that's coming from the UK. So one of the your defaults is, well, often this stuff is overseas, so you can that's a good way of kind of detecting it. This was inside the geographic borders.
And you say like 16, 17 years old. I know there's a lady older than that, but these are effectively children, right, that have got access to some form of tooling to enable it. And okay, I get it. There's some social engineering in place. They've been able to. I mean, how much information about me and you online, the roles we've done, the jobs we've done. Wouldn't take a genius to pick up the phone to help desk and pretend you're you and do a password reset, and you've no doubt got admin keys to the admin castle, and there you're in.
That I mean, that's one of the things that we have done. If you worked for us, I've got no more access than you.
Yeah.
So one of the things I did about 2+ years ago was I reduced my access level to be the lowest level.
Yeah.
Because I'm a target.
I'm high profile.
I'm a high profile target. He's a CTO. Get his profile. Go in and if somebody did get my profile, which hopefully they won't, I've got no more access than a data admin resource, because we looked at it and we're like, well, if I need access, then I'll request it on a specific need basis, and then it'll be revoked, because it's too much risk if somebody got in and got my profile. These are kids in the UK that have not very many of them, a handful of kids in the UK that have made, I read 300 million was the cost to M&S. That's quite that's quite an impact they've had.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a stat here that says that the banks are 300 times more likely to be attacked for obvious reasons, and that ransomware surged over not even 100%, but 1,300%. It's crazy, and of course, you get keys to the castle at a bank, then you can do some pretty dodgy things on the dark web, as been seen with some of these high profile ones. So with that being said, you've kind of outlined some of the pressures. As a CTO, this must keep you up at night, these type of things. It's because it can be, I say they're outside your control. You can put mitigations and controls in place, but it only takes one case.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, now it doesn't keep me awake at night, because
you're a better man than me.
if that did, then no. I tend to go to bed at night and think we've done what we can do.
I've done a successful transformation. I'm done.
Mark told me I was a star, so I've taken that on board, and I'm going to take that. But there's a lot of controls in place, as much as we sensibly can. We get attacks, tens of thousands of attacks. I mean, literally tens of thousands of attacks. And we're a small business, we're reasonably low profile. We're not mainstream. But even us, we get attacked. But I mean, there's only so much you can do. But some of the stuff we've done now is kind of weird. The kind of whole industry's kind of circling back around to where it used to be. We now got physical security keys connected to profiles to get access to the most valuable assets within the company now. And I remember having and they still exist, but RSA keys and stuff. That's the way you used to log on,
the 6th generation code,
and use that, and that was your kind of. And we moved away from that. I think we're going back to physical secure keys, because it's the only way you can guarantee somebody is who they say they are. I mean, we've got MFA, not just SMS, MFA onto authenticator and stuff like that. Proper controls in place. But even with all of that, you're like, that's not even enough, because
it's interesting, right? Because as you say, banks or financial institutions have adopted, I guess, new ways of working around security. They try to become a bit more digit enabled, but possibly maybe too much, right? So actually, a little kind of reset back to the old ways, which was maybe. It's a pain because you had to carry around this thing and you'd have to put this 6-digit number in, and maybe not a great experience, but a lot more secure. So do you think we almost not coming back full circle, but having a little reset? I think actually, does the greatest new tools and new experience, that is not enough for us to move away from that type of thing?
Some things is you can't the way that. The way that AI is allowing them to come at you at such scale and adapt to what is coming at you, that's you can't second guess that. People can't work ahead of it. You cannot deploy things, so some things are going to have to go. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised We don't at the moment, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of the banks have got locked down to be like physical office environments. We can only do things if you've got a secure key and you're in this building. You're really getting old school. We went through COVID, everybody worked from anywhere, do what you like. The whole world's kind of remote. We're probably getting to a state now where it's like you can actually only do this stuff if you're in this building and you're on that laptop and you're using this key, because it's the only way you can be sure it's not some kid with AI in their basement pretending to be who they say you are.
I mean, it says that AI 25% of all attacks is now kind of AI enabled or based. So do you, without going too far into detail for obvious reasons, but are you starting to see a lot more AI attacks? And how do you distinguish that they are AI and rather than these two guys in their bedroom somewhere? Is there a way to distinguish it?
If there is, I don't know what it is, but I would be surprised if it's that small. Really, I think it's probably
longer and bigger than that. Wow!
Because I think if you take that sort of bad actor trying to get in, and they may be using various tools to kind of get access. They're now using AI to kind of replicate their attacks. So they kind of go, I want to go in by this profile and use this approach, but AI, give me 1,000 different variants on this one attack vector, and start running them, and it will then it can run the automation to kind of drill it out. So it's just multiplying their bandwidth to give them opportunities. So that's why I wouldn't be surprised if the numbers are way bigger. It's probably, it probably distills down to a small number of actors, but they can use AI. We're all using it now to do more and be more productive and kind of work more effectively. They're doing exactly the same thing.
Going off piece, but is ThinCats embracing AI in a user's hand, or is it kind of bring your own device?
No, so we've got AI. We've got a bunch of AI prototypes we're running right now, actually. So we're trying to take away, I guess, a time-consuming element where people are kind of trying to digest large volumes of data. So when we go through a deal, maybe a bit detailed, but you can get like 1,000-page memorandum or a massive piece of documentation you've got to read through to understand what the deal is. Some of the information is always the same. We've always got to capture the same level of information, and you've got to read through it to find it. Well, that's kind of homegrown AI, use case 101. So how do we do that in a controlled environment, safely, securely? We're not sharing the data. So that's one of the areas that we're exploring at the moment. Document comparison tooling. There's a whole bunch of use cases that fit for us, even as a small business, where there's loads of opportunity in it. And that's, beyond the stuff we're already using it for login profiles. We use AI and ML for login credential checking. If you start looking like you're not doing what you're doing, AI is working in the background to kind of go, we're just going to lock them out. I kind of got in trouble with our CEO a few weeks ago because she got locked out because our kind of our automated detection service was looking at her profile, think this looks dodgy, just locked her out. So she's on the phone. Why have you been locked out? What's going on? Well, we're not sure what's going on with your profile.
Did she call the help desk or did she call you?
Oh, me straight away.
Oh dear.
Totally.
Terrible
every time.
behaviour.
Well, every time. So straight through to me. But that's where we're already using AI and we're benefiting from it. But the use cases go much broader than that. Which again is exciting stuff for people to work on. That's what they want to be looking at.
There's some amazing AI use cases out there, and I'm glad you've pinpointed 4 or 5 there and become focused on, because over the last 18 months, people talk about AI so holistically that actually we need to get to the real nuts and bolts of use cases and how they're going to impact and what kind of case they're going to deliver and benefits they're going to deliver. It's interesting that you're starting to use a few, which is great because they're the ones I've kind of heard about before. I wonder who's going to be the first, if there might be a couple already, but who's going to fully embed AI into the actual infrastructure of their bank and let it kind of have free reign of their data. Has the conversation happened at ThinCats, and what's your worries around allowing that? Because there are a lot of worries about that.
I think there's a really good opportunity in that space. We call it BIAI tooling. And I want to expand that because it takes away a lot of headaches as a technologist. If you think about extract, transform, load type thinking, AI just removes loads of that. We have to connect databases to data warehouses to visualization tooling. You just strip all that away. It's like I've got 2 databases. They're in different data structures. Get them to talk to one another. Give me some learnings from the 2 of them. just instruct AI to figure it out, and it's proving its value in that space. So AI with the ability to kind of crawl all over your data and join it up, I think loads of opportunity. Kind of the holy grail where I want to get to with that is I want a genuine sort of natural language kind of interface to our data assets. So in February 2023, what was the biggest loan we did? Literally to be able to ask the system, and it just spit out the answers without any person kind of having to get involved. And I don't think for us that's that far away. We can get there.
No, I mean even in FintechOS, this platform, they've got its own AI agent now called Dex, and it's it's very FintechOS centric, but I've seen it in action now. It's ChatGPT for FintechOS. All the policies, all the historical data, all the documentation. It's fantastic. It helps you build out products and platforms so much quicker. But everybody's going to be doing their own version of Dex. So it's about feeding giving access to those data. And you talked about those two data lakes, two databases you've got. I think because you're a bit of a perfectionist, enabling your data in the fact that it's actually quality data, which I still see a huge problem in the industry where the data is so dirty, and actually you're just feeding it a load of rubbish. And to actually enable the fact that you've got two databases, different structures, but being able to communicate between them has put you in a really good pathway.
We're just closing out a project at the moment, actually, which is its purpose was to make sure we had single version of truth for all our financial reporting data.
Single version of truth, yes.
Which we called Right Numbers Right Now. That's what it's for, is to make sure that all of our financial reporting isn't relying on somebody adjusting a set of spreadsheets at the back end of the steps and then spitting out the door. The system should be putting out the right number without any adjustments, any corrections, because I want to be able to interrogate it. I want to be able to use it. I don't want to second guess the numbers across different things. So we're kind of closing out that right now.
Will that tool be available for the frontline users as well? So they can use it to interrogate their own portfolios and drive out some analytics and some insights around customer behavior or products or opportunities that sits across their portfolio.
That's what we want to get out of this. And if you build it, you build it for an executive tier audience, it works for anyone. It doesn't have to be limited to a kind of a discrete set of users. It could be across the board. It's got value, it's got opportunity, it's there, it can be available, so it doesn't have to be limited. It's partially why we're spending a lot of time at the moment thinking about evaluating the different models, evaluating the different frameworks that kind of sit behind it, the agents, agentic AI, because this thing can run away with you cost wise, and we've always got one eye on the cost profile. So making sure this thing will scale means let's do the hard work now to kind of evaluate all the different options and kind of cost it, because it's exciting as it is. It needs to be cost effective.
Well, I guess it's no different to the transformation you should be under. I mean, again, most of the AI pilots or MVPs, they'll fail for one reason or another. But again, if you get the use case, the business case, the efficiency case, and you drive it through a proper revenue-based view, a bit like your digital transformation you've been through, you're most likely to be set up for success if you can measure and touch it and feel it. And I say there's so many use cases out there, and especially in origination. But again, some of these, we're talking about AI tools and how they're going to revolutionise the banker's world, customer's world, your world as a CTO. But they're also in the hands of bad actors, to say. And I did a little bit of research last night, and you see these people being able to manipulate passports, driving licenses, and ID and stuff like that. And you, like many other banks, probably got a little bit of outsourcing going on with a lot of partners that you rely on that are probably also going to be attacked in this way. So even at EID and V, you've got to stress test your partners' resilience as well to make sure they're passing the test. Right? So every time a bank comes up with it's not a new revolutionary IDMV, but a new way of journey, that is fundamental, a great way. It's a chink of the armour. That's going, right, I'm going for that then.
And it's with that supply network, it's from my perspective, where we are as maybe more of a smaller business, a bigger bank maybe slightly differently, but you can get caught up in the middle of it as a middleman. They might be the target may actually be that electric ID service because they've got loads of different customer bases. So it's not just a case of stress testing the service that you're getting from them. It's also thinking about that people may be trying to get to them through you, because you may be the weak point in the connection, and they're trying to get across to get a broader access point into what they've got. And all of that, there's lots of challenge to be kind of worked through and understand the kind of the connections and the relationships and the data you're relying on, you're passing to and fro, all that kind of stuff, because of both sides of it. Tax might not be targeted at you, but it doesn't mean it's any less impactful on your business. Give us an insight, Billy, as somebody very much front and center of this. Give us an insight of when an attack might happen. So we're sitting here recording this podcast. You suddenly get a Teams note or an email through on your phone as it's been an attack, or we've just shut down. What's the process? What do you go through to either shut it down or to test your own resilience? What is it that your teams physically have to go to get to that point where you're safe and secure again? Aside from blind panic.
Except for the fact that you rush out right now and like, come back, you'll finish recording.
Screaming in
and I guess inside, you said you get attacked all the time, but how often that might happen, just for people because I think we all hear about these numbers, but we don't ever make it real. You or remember your team 3 o'clock in the morning, because it doesn't happen at totally. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It happens when you're going to be the most vulnerable, which is usually probably when you're asleep. I think so. In terms of the cold hard numbers, and I try and share them with our board to kind of give them sight. So it's somewhere in the region of about 10,000 malicious emails and stuff coming at us every month that you kind of filter out. Of the things that we see that result in some form of investigation, it's 500 to 1,000. Is that the kind of number where you get to where it's going a little bit further, there's more going on and it needs a bit more understanding? And then you've got to filter out all the false positives of things that actually it wasn't really bad, it was this, that and the other. But the physical steps is that it's always we immediately kind of bring up the profile, look at the exact kind of login details of credentials, the access, what's going on with it. Have they gotten through password? Is there a password breach? If they've gotten through password, is there an MFA breach? If they've gotten through an MFA breach, where have they gone next? What does that look like? Thankfully, we haven't gotten past an MFA breach for many years now. But it has served its purpose then.
It has happened. They've taken a few years ago they piggybacked off an MFA and they managed to breach MFA kind of protocols, which does happen. So there's the kind of the immediate event management piece of let's understand what we're dealing with, and then it goes into containment. If there is something, how do we contain what's happened? Once you've contained it, then you kind of look to kind of what's the reporting damage limitation across the back of it, and then stopping it happening again. But the kind of the immediacy piece is trying to understand the nature of what it is, because most of the time, and again, touch wood, it's not real, and it just looks like there's something going on, and it hasn't gone as far as it looks. And that's where we've seen it. But the kind of the steps go much like anything. Just first of all, stay calm, try and figure out what's going on, get everybody the right sort of information, and then deal with the immediate impact.
And I guess we could, with the platforms that you've put in place now, and I think probably where I think it was Harrods or Carp, I can't remember which one it was now, kind of, I say get away with it in inverted commas, is they were able to really isolate that system and effectively shut it down before it spread to the rest of the ecosystem.
That was the Harrods one.
Yes, the Harrods one, yeah. So the design of the infrastructure of a bank to enable the fact that if one particular partner, vendor, system, God forbid, a core, whatever it is, did get attacked, how easy is it to close off the rest of the ecosystem really quickly so that they can't get hold of it?
I actually gave a bit of thought ahead of us talking, because I'd been thinking it through, a bit of the evolution of IT and where things are going and where they've been, and where we've ended up, and we talked about earlier, the single platform, the unified kind of environment, low cost.
So you've done that because that's a great experience, right? But also you've loaded it with a potential issue. Yeah,
exactly. And then you look at it from, a lot of the more traditional legacy banks that are juggling, 5, 10, 15 cores that they've never managed to collapse because of the cost and the issue. I have wondered about it. Like now, maybe there's something to be said for the argument of maybe there's something in isolation and keeping them segregated, and rather than consolidate them.
Yeah.
Because if you have got lines of business running on very discrete platforms, you could do exactly that. You can keep them completely ring fenced, keep the security protocols completely separate.
Yeah.
And in the event that, you lost your mortgage platform, you're not taking down your savings business.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did wonder if now maybe there's some sense in maybe moving away a bit from the unified core, which has been, enterprise utopia for forever.
Yeah. Everybody wants that one single thing.
Exactly. Maybe, that, multi-million and plus pound investment in consolidation from a security perspective, there's something to be said for not doing it.
Yeah.
Because you really, it gives you a completely hard delineation between your systems.
Yeah.
You don't have to put any virtual or artificial kind of partitions.
Yeah.
You can kind of completely segment it.
Yeah.
So I think there must be a lot of the banks looking at that now and thinking, let's maybe just keep it the way it is, because it's helping us.
I think in general, we've probably seen of late, not a lot of people are changing their cores nowadays. They might be upgrading, but probably not doing a lot of swap outs now just because of the cost. And, there's been way too many bad news stories around it. But it was interesting because you shut down all your legacy stuff, which is fantastic. Because again, a lot of people are they end up running it still because contractually they're signed in for 5-6 years. They keep the back book, and I guess they hopefully merge over as those products run down. The new products will be on the new platform. But a lot of big banks, there's multiple cores, like 10s, 15s, right? But the kind of tier 2's alternatives, 1, sometimes 2, mainly because they're stuck with one. Actually, maybe there is something to be said about running at least 2, or having a fallback, or being able to have that kind of more secure position. And for a FintechOS that kind of can be quite core agnostic, could actually play quite nicely into a USP that actually being able to, as a front end or a middleware, doesn't matter how many cores you have. It doesn't matter. Don't have 1, have 10, have 15. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Actually, we'll do all that orchestration for you. Just concentrate on keep yourself out of jail.
Yeah, provided it's it's not a completely legacy, security gateway into your environment.
Yeah.
If the environments are maintained and up to date, maybe there's something to be said for, don't worry about the fact they're on different environments. You can unify the data, for a data layer, and again, you could abstract that out so it's got its own security kind of wrapped around it, and it's isolated from the rest. And that, I could see that being more of a standard approach that we might see banks adopting.
Yeah. So what's next for the next 3 years for Billy at ThinCats? You don't want to do another transformation, I'm guessing.
No.
What's the next thing? What's the next big thing? AI, obviously, we've touched on. If you could roll the dice, I don't know, 2-3 years forward.
So AI is a big piece. There's some finishing off I want to do. There are bits of the digital journey that we haven't completely digitized that I want to kind of close out. So, from point of sale through all the way through to execution and kind of into kind of mainstream servicing is all kind of end to end digitized now. But we've got gaps. The payment gateway isn't completely digitized. I'd like to go through and make sure we've got that inbound, outbound, direct debit mandates all automated, all kind of integrated. So it's finishing off the areas of gaps we've got that create some inefficiencies. Anywhere we rely on a spreadsheet, get rid of that, and build it into an enterprise sort of data repository, of which there's a handful, not many, but some. Any gaps like that, create weaknesses for us. So there's some areas in that. The biggest piece will be really pushing their AI agenda. That'll be the sexy story that we'll pitch on.
Do you think you'll be a build or buy
for AI?
Yeah,
good question. I would have said, if you asked me 6 months ago, we were looking at, and I wrote the AI strategy, we were looking at buying discrete AI services for use cases.
Yeah.
But having explored and evaluated a few of them, it comes back to that business case type piece. if you distill it down to an individual use case and then you're looking at a tooling against it, I've kind of come up against it with, right, you want me to commit on a 3-year license deal, and this is what the cost is, and you don't really have a roadmap because you don't know where this is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for the cost of that, I could have 2 people.
Yeah.
And I know they're not AI, but I could literally have 2 people sat on a desk doing this job all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't stack up.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I always play it back to them. It's like, I get it. I understand you've got sunk cost in this thing, but I could have people doing this, and you know, the job that we're talking about often isn't something really, really supremely complex, so they could cover it. So as a result, I'm now in a position where we are looking at building, not an LLM, but AWS has got most of the tools we need to be able to adopt and switch between LLMs that we wish, building AI tools and agents and services on a unified platform based on individual use case needs that point at different LLMs. Great, I'll have that, thanks. And then so it's
already in the ecosystem. There's already a vendor that's onboarding anybody takes a long time, right?
I could have said Microsoft. Google. There are AWS isn't in their own space there, but I think that ability to switch between the language models, and it's got monitoring, it's got kind of cost tracking, it's got all the things that I'd write in that I'd want to have embedded within our AI tooling that I'd go to license. Well, it's kind of already there. So much so that I'm now thinking about it from a perspective of, we've got certain resources around the organization whose roles may be slightly challenged by AI. Rather than thinking of them as, well, that let's get rid of those people, it's actually do we try to re-architect their role to be one that's more an AI custodian or in some way
help build the agents, help manage the agents.
You need people behind these things. So maybe that
you still need the intelligence between the artificial.
So let's get those people working over here on this thing rather than we've got AI now, so get rid of them.
Do you see people in the organisation seeing it as a threat? I do come across it with people on this couch before, where technology has always been it's an evolution. It's always been a disruptor in the right way. But I always hark back to when I started, and even the roles you'd have started as a banker. I look back my first role, handwriting envelopes, sending them out, or digging out the checks from the room and comparing them against signatures. Now, if ISV image servicing wasn't still, if we weren't doing that today, crikey, where would we be as an industry? But I, as an individual, evolve. You learn new skills. You start using these tools. So I kind of understand the thought process of being of the threat of I might be unemployed. But also, another part of me, I don't really, because that's a part of natural evolution. It's about trying new skills and experience and becoming, I guess, the custodians of those tools. So definitely. I can see it both ways, but I'm definitely on the right rather than the left of it.
I've engaged quite a lot around the business because one of the things I did was I went out and I kind of gathered up all the use cases. So I went to all the departments and said, look, this is what you think about the AI. What do you think would work in your space? And having gathered, all the 100 different use cases or whatever it was, and then I basically kind of mashed them together and go, look, there's really only 10. You're all doing roughly the same thing, but you're calling it something different. Nobody in any of those conversations is coming at it from a perspective of, I don't want to talk to you because this could be a bit scary and I don't know what it's going to mean for my job. Everybody's looking at it as, it'd be brilliant if it's got rid of that because that's crap and I hate doing that. People are really,
want to embrace it.
They're kind of viewing the value in which AI can bring, and the positioning I've kind of always put with it is, we've got really intelligent, smart people around the business. Why would we deploy them doing some of these jobs when they could actually be doing the work that we want them to be doing? And that's how people are viewing it as well.
If I gave you a check for one of those 10 business cases, I know you like to make sure the business case stacks up. So just put the business case to one side. I'm giving you a check for it. It doesn't matter if it doesn't stack up or not. One of those 10, what's the best one? Or 2?
I think the easiest one that we've got is the one I described, which is extracting kind of fact-based insight from a document.
So customers send in all document, PDF, Excel, whatever format, doesn't matter. extracts the information you'd need for a lending case. I don't know, it compares it to maybe your internal documents, your customer acceptance policies, your lending policies, your metrics, and it almost starts to rewrite the actual credit application.
Yeah, and that's the thing kind of. So I think that's the easiest one.
Mm-hmm.
I think if somebody was giving me the money, I don't think that's one I'd do because it's a bit dull, really, now, almost, which is a bit weird. In AI land, you've got dull.
I get that. Yeah.
I think that the one I'd love to do is the natural language kind of AI kind of data extrapolate, because I think that's like,
from a technologist, I expect you to say that. Yeah.
Really, just it's almost untouchable. And when I've talked to people about it around the business, they're like, "Oh no, that won't work." And I don't know coding. I don't know. No, you, honestly, just ask it a question and it will spit it back. In the like we all interact with ChatGPT. You don't think or limit what you ask ChatGPT or Claude or anything. Those. I'm just going to ask it, and it will go and find it.
Yeah.
That of your own data set, your own curated data set with your own business rules and logic wrapped around it, that it can then understand and be able to kind of reflect your business value and your business proposition. I think that's really cool, and I think that will, a few years ago you would never have dreamt of anything like that. That would have been tens of years of people squirreling away coding stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's like attainable now, and I'd love to be able to deliver that.
Well, I promise this wasn't set up, because that's exactly what FintechOS have done with Dex. So that's a brilliant way to finish the pod.
You can pay me later.
Billy, no, absolutely, yeah. It wasn't set up, I promise you. No, Billy, thanks for coming on and appearing and sharing insight. It's we've known each other for a while now. Continued good luck with ThinCats. Say you are a success story in a world of failure sometimes. So honestly, you've been a forefront and foundation of that for ThinCats. So congratulations, and I'm sure we'll continue into the future.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, Mark.
Cheers.